Alright, so it's still Midday Live. Thanks so much for staying with us. It's time for us to look at what's happening in the world of business with me, Nana Ikasari. Let's look at what is really going on with the IMF bailout talks. And we understand a team from the IMF is scheduled to begin the anticipated bailout talks with government on Tuesday, that is tomorrow, following the oversubscription of Ghana's third Eurobond auction and the Cocoa Board syndicated loan, which brings a combined value of almost $3 billion into the economy. And chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, Professor Kwesi Botwe, has been nominated by President Mahama to lead government's discussion, which follows a period that many analysts and economists have described as the best week over the last decade. Now, the Eurobond issued is expected to boost the country's position as it engages officials of the IMF this week. Let's see how that pans out. And I'm sure if you're taking note of the time and date, you would remember that the Electricity Company of Ghana promised to release the load shedding timetable. Well, they have hinted it will publish a load shedding timetable on Thursday, September 18, for the ongoing continuous power outages. Meanwhile, the Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Emmanuel Amakofibwa, has urged the company to intensify efforts in revenue collection.
Power outages have been attributed to ongoing maintenance work on thermal plants at Abuadi and drop of water level in their Konsombo and Bui dams. Touring the new Electricity Company of Ghana supply point in Cape Coast, the Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Emmanuel Amakofibwa, said government will engage all stakeholders in the power sector in discussing the accessibility of the recently signed Millennium Challenge account.
Ghana's commitment on the Millennium Challenge, we are about to engage stakeholders, including ECG. Ultimately, this has to be owned by ECG. The whole purpose is to open a very frank, honest discussion as to which right model will be better suited to help complement all the work you're doing.
Emmanuel Kofibwa urged the Electricity Company of Ghana to intensify their revenue collection efforts.
ECG is very crucial. It is really the heartbeat of the power sector. And if the power sector is going to really survive, it all depends on what ECG is doing. And to make sure that ultimately ECG is a very strong, solid organization that is able to collect every revenue we can get to pay those who are producing the electricity.
Meanwhile, the Electricity Company of Ghana during the tour hinted a load shedding guide will be published on Thursday, September 18 for the ongoing frequent power outages.
Health workers within the Trade Union Congress are calling on government to review tax policies on tax incentives and exceptions. The union alleged Ghana loses about $1.2 billion annually to tax incentives.
According to an investment report by ISODEC and Action Aid Ghana, Ghana is among the lowest tax revenue countries in Africa. Over the period, the country has recorded a regular depreciation in its annual total tax revenue, the most being recent of that of 2013, in which 28.31% was generated as total revenue. According to financial experts, the huge revenue loss is as a result of high tax exemptions granted foreign investors who operate in the country. This, health workers in the Trade Union Congress believes has widened the gap between foreign investors and Ghanaian workers, leading to untold hardship among the citizenry.
The point we are making here is that don't just give unconditional tax incentives. If your objective is to create jobs, tell the companies that if you come with this number of jobs, you get these tax reliefs. As it is now, if you give tax holiday 25 years and 24 and a half years, they close down and go, what have you benefited? Government cite things like employment in the mines, employment in the petroleum sector, and so therefore we are losing more than we are gaining.
An economic analyst also believes that African leaders need to put a unified structure in place to correct huge revenue losses generated from tax exemptions and incentives.
These companies are given tax holidays because people talk about taxes in terms of investment and jobs, and they're scared that if they don't give these big tax breaks to companies that they won't invest. But some of these arguments are not true. When we ask companies what they need most to invest in countries, tax comes at the bottom of the list. Normally they say we need stable political environments with strong institutions.
Now, I know this district is well known when it comes to growing cocoa. I'm talking about Jasikan district, but they have decided to delve into ginger production, and it is to establish a ginger processing plant by the end of the year to boost the production. Now, the area, which is well known as one of the highest cocoa growing zones in the Volta region, has recently discovered the potential in ginger cultivation and wants to explore it to know the benefits also for the people.
Buem traditional area is one of the highly productive zones in the northern Volta, noted for cocoa, rice and variety of other food crop productions. However, poor road network and chieftaincy disputes have deprived the area of its potentials, leaving the residents poorer by the day. Some youth from the area 10 years ago came together to form the Coalition Peace and Development in Buem, aimed at resolving all the various chieftaincy struggles to engender growth. The effort has paid off with an increase in cocoa production through the distribution of cocoa seedlings to the youth farmers.
This brings to mind the question whether we have all played our roles as citizens of Buem in sustaining the peace of Bueman. Even though we are not enthused with the latest developments, we are still looking up to you to put this behind once again, so that you can regain the support of your people and take your rightful positions as leaders of the Buem society.
The Peace and Stability Group has also veered into ginger production on a large scale.
Jasikan district has comparative advantage in cultivation of high quality ginger. I am in contact with investors to establish a ginger processing factory here to help our farmers and add value to the product. It is my belief that we will be able to provide jobs for our people when we release land to investors who show interest in investing in our district.
The coalition called on the youth to avail themselves for the opportunities in order to better their lots. Member of Parliament for Buem, Daniel Kwesi Ashama, announced the establishment of a community radio station at Jasikan to be known as Buem FM to help boost development.
Well, I'm sure they would love to join my director, Babina Okafen, for more ginger for their processing plant.